Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? We continue with our silage harvest today. We're going to do this field, and then we're going to go over there onto, which field is that? That's 12, 14, 15, field 15. We'll do field 15 next, and try and work the two different levels of ripeness on the crop at the same time, see how that works out. I don't know if it will be able to combine the two. I have no idea. My question for this week is that very soon we're going to be doing some forestry, possibly next week if we get the silage finished in time. I should think actually we will start it next week. Although we've got to do the planting obviously before we can do anything else. We'll make sure that all the fields are planted. Once we do start over there, I'm going to be using some auto-load logging trailers. I'm going to use this one here, which is a retextured one with a hitch added onto the back. And then if we go into the forestry equipment, I also have this one here, which is by an Italian modding team. They've added the logging auto-load script from Mahoo onto the Flegel Timber Runner. So I've got both of those. So there's that one, and then that one was taken and retextured and had the hitch added to it by the other group. So I've included both of them. I'd like to use both trailers and form a little road train so that we can drag them up and down the road. My question is, do you want me to load them manually, or would you like me to use the auto-load logging script? It's your vote, it's your game. Head into the comment section down below. Tell us why you are happy for me to use the logging auto-load, or why you would prefer me to only do it manually and not use the auto-load at all. And of course, don't forget to actually cast your vote by mousing over in the top right-hand corner. Now, I've made it quite clear my own feelings on auto-load, and I really hope that you allow me to use it. I will try to load a trailer using other methods, but I really, really love this particular auto-load that throws the logs onto the trailer. I think it's done really, really well. It takes the log off the ground and it puts it in a position above the trailer, not really high above the trailer, just a little bit above the trailer, and then just lets it go. And so let's just put the cover onto the trailer. So we'll take this one on up to, I need to increase my speed, this one on up to the BGA and empty this one out. That will be our third load up there so far. Yeah, so the auto load, I think it works really well. It's this about as close to realistic as you could get, whilst not actually having to go through all the bother of using a machine to load them up. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like using machines to load them up, and then there are people that do. Personally, I don't mind too much using a telehandler or a front loader with a decent log grab that I can grab the logs and then tip them on into the trailer. I don't mind doing that too much. What I personally really, really don't like is the likes of the Ponzi Buffalo, you know, the front crawler that... Let me just show you the one that I mean. It's here and there, that one there, you know, with the crane arm on it that you pick up the logs one or two at a time and put them in. And also, there it is, the stepper trailer, that one. It's got the same, it's got that loader arm. And also on the one of the wood chippers as well, you've got the same arm that does it. I absolutely hate using those arms. I genuinely hate using those arms. It's something I really don't like doing. I try to do it a little bit in a video every now and then, just so that it's done. But I genuinely don't enjoy the experience of using them at all. I prefer to do it in other ways. And I know that there are people that do enjoy using those. I've told several of you that I use a joystick. So when I'm doing front loader operations, whether it's a wheel loader, the telehandler, whatever it might be, I use the joystick on it. And I am considering getting a second joystick and trying to map it in so that when I come to use the crane arms or the Ponzi Scorpion, because I don't mind using the Scorpion, I use the mouse controls for that one. And I don't mind using that one at all. I get on fairly well with that one, even just using the mouse. But I figured that I would try to use two joysticks and see how I get on with that. The only problem I've got is I don't really have enough space on my desk to be able to do it properly. So it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. being able to do it at all, but it's something that I wouldn't mind trying. If I could set it up and get it right for everybody, then maybe we could use a crane arm. There's a couple of excavator mods that I've seen. So you've got a great big excavator that has got some logging grabs on them, which can pick up huge amounts. You know the grab that is by the trains, the big orange one that you use for loading and unloading the trains, the logs. They've got grabs on them on that kind of scale, so you can use the lid. Sorry, it's not a lid. The gate on the back of the trailer is still coming down. So it's got a big grab like that orange one down there over the trains. It's of a similar scale to that, so you can load and unload a trailer full in just a couple of grabs. And these are huge, great, big excavator mods. The ones that I've seen, the textures are quite flat, and generally I get the impression that it was a new modder that made them, not a hugely experienced one, but also someone that didn't really care too much that the textures and the colours were quite flat and everything, but they wanted to add the functionality of using it into the game. So yeah, it's really good mod, and I've seen them in action. I was watching a video actually earlier. There's a logging map that is available on the mod hub, and the logging map is really good. It's got no land anywhere, and you can't plough up. Well, I say no land. It's completely covered in forests, mountains, swamps. It's all covered in trees. There is no selling point anywhere on the map for grains. So even if you do find a way to plough up some of the land and start combining it, you've got nowhere that you can sell the grain. So it's kind of a waste of time. You've got no animals on it. It's entirely for logging. And I've seen someone using on that map a couple of excavator mods with great big grabs on them and stuff, and it actually looked really cool. I've got to say, I was quite impressed. You can overlook the kind of the flat colours and everything if the functionality of the mod looks fantastic. I am quite fussy when it comes to mods, but just because I complain about the appearance of them and the textures and that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the work that can go into them. And the work that has gone into some of those mods is fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't know where to begin with crafting a mod like that, and then putting all the right script and everything in it so that it runs perfectly. Wouldn't have a clue. I simply wouldn't have a clue. So I realise that there's a lot of work gone into it, and I'm not trying to take away. When I say that it looks like a beginner's mod, or hasn't had a lot of work gone into the appearance and so on, I hope that I'm not being offensive to the mod creators out there who have spent a lot of time and effort building a mod. And you look at a mod like this one here. This one has got beautiful colours and textures, and it's fantastically well made. And then you could get another mod that's very similar, but the colours are very, very flat. There's no sort of decoration on it. It's a very blocky appearance to it, and that's not to say that mod creator has done. How can I word this? It's not to say that the mod creator has done a poor job. He's got a mod that works perfectly in the game, and a lot of these mods, despite their appearance, will run perfectly without any errors in the log, and that is a fantastic thing to achieve. So they've got all these things in there. They just haven't spent the extra however many, I wouldn't have a clue, I would guess maybe another 100 hours working on it to round off the edges and change the textures and everything to make it absolutely perfect, because they've got the functionality that they desire into the game. And so yeah, it's fantastic, and I really do appreciate the work that is put in by all of the modders. I'm talking a lot about the mods at the moment because I've spent a lot of time talking to several mod creators, and I've become a lot more aware of the amount of work that has to go into even minor mods. So just a little tiny mod still has a huge amount of work, and I really don't think that we as a community in general fully appreciate, and we just don't fully appreciate the amount of time and effort and work that goes into creating these mods for us, when it's done off of the modder's own back. They don't get paid for this. They are now, some of them starting to get a little bit of income from the mod hub, but again, it's certainly not enough to make a living on. And people don't do this for the money. They do this for the love of creating the mods that they want. So, yeah, just because I say that, you know, I don't like the way that the colours appear on this and so on, doesn't mean I'm not grateful for the mod. It doesn't mean I'm not grateful for a person who has spent all that time and effort creating the mod and giving it to us completely free. No sort of restrictions on it. No, you can have this for a month and then you've got to pay me, and nothing. Just, here you go, there's something I created, I spent hours and hours and hours making this, I hope you enjoy it, and that's all we get. And then, you know, we're free to use it. So, I really, really do appreciate it, and I might sometimes sound like I don't fully appreciate the effort that some modders go into when I'm talking about, I don't like this, or it loses points for the colours and the appearance and so on. I'm not trying to say that you know, I think it's poor. I'm not trying to upset, but at the same time, when I'm marking a mod, I've got to find the best mods that are out there, and then I grade everything else accordingly. So yes, if it's, you know, flat colours and poor textures on it, I'll say that it's got flat colours and poor textures. That doesn't mean that I don't like the mod. If I've found the mod and I've installed it and I'm using it, I obviously thought that it was good enough to go to all the effort of installing it and trying to use it in the game, regardless of how it looks. So any new modders out there, if I happen to include one of your mods in any video that I do, please take that as a huge compliment. Your mod has sort of reached out to me amongst all of the thousands of others, and I thought that that is actually good enough that I would like to include it in my video. I'd like to show its functionality to people. I'd like to share this mod with everybody else. If I say that the textures aren't great, or I don't like the colours or whatever, that's just my sort of personal view on it. That's not to say you've done a bad job, right? I'm not saying that you've made a poor mod, you've done a bad job. I'm saying that you've done a fantastic job already, because I've picked your mod out of the crowd and I want everybody to look at it. And if you're going to revisit the mod and improve on anything, here's something that you can look at. Right, I'm going to stop talking about that now, because otherwise I could end up getting myself into trouble. I do get myself into trouble from time to time. We've got the rest of the field that we're working on. I'm thinking that we kind of need to increase the way that we're doing. We're also going to need to start thinking about how we're going to compact this fairly soon. I think we'll probably use the Valtra and a set of weights and that. I think it's from BM Modding, though I'm not certain. We will have to have a look at it. But first of all, what I'd like to do, I'm going to back this one up. I'm going to leave this one in here. There's another trailer that I'd like to use. I used it in the time-lapse, I told you about that. And I did say I thought that this one would probably be okay, we don't need anything bigger. But now I'm actually thinking, you know what? Let's go big or let's go home. So I don't want to go home just yet, so let's go big. I'm going to go over to the dealership. I'm going to get a bigger trailer, and I'm going to bring that one back to the field, and then we can have a look at that one. And hopefully that will sort of speed things up a bit, because we won't have to do quite so many trips. Right, here we go. We have a much larger Krampe trailer now, and we'll see how this one goes. I'm not quite sure if the forager is going to be able to reach over the top of it. That's going to be the only issue with this one. Oh yes, it does. Oh, well, we're getting a slight little bit of clipping on the grass texture sort of flowing into the trailer, but it is doing it. It is reaching inside. Just want to set the cruise control onto 8. There we go. And there we go. So it is clipping slightly on this side slightly. I think that the Class Jaguar is actually quite a short forager compared to some of the others. I think the others are a bit taller, so that they would reach over the top. Not quite certain. It might just be that we need to run a little bit closer to the machine so that we can so that it will go into the trailer properly. Bring that one round. There we go. So we'll do one more. It'll be one more pass, and then there'll be a little bit left over as well. If we move over a bit closer to the forager, that seems to be about right. Now it's not actually clipping, but we're running very, very tight to the header. Just zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's going perfectly there, but that's in danger of getting a fraction too tight to the header and causing the machine to stop. So we might just have to put up with a little bit of clipping on that, just to make sure that it runs perfectly. Overall, I think it's doing pretty well. Once we finish this field, and we'll go over to the small field, I'll probably just do one pass up one side, and then we're going to try using the follow me mod. I'm going to run the forager myself, and we'll put the Tatra onto follow me, and if we can get the position just right, hopefully it will follow us around the field, just sort of where he's sat now on the sort of in relation to the forager. I'm hoping. We'll have to see. I managed to do it okay with the John Deere forager on Sosnovka, if you remember. We had quite a good result with that, actually. I was quite pleased with that. We just swing on round. Oh, we've actually got the full swath in one pass. Excellent. Let's come up here. Yeah, it's even if I pull in tight, I don't want to go any tighter than that. And it's still just clipping the cover on there. But I think realistically you wouldn't run like this. You'd go round the field so that it was on the other side. I don't think you move up and down the field. I'm not actually sure because I've never participated in maize silage. Oh, actually, tell a lie. I have done it once. Yeah, I did spend a couple of days on it once when I was one of the jobs I had. Mostly it was grass silage, but I do remember doing a little bit of this. And we always stayed on the same side of the forager at all times. It was the opposite side of this. We drove on his right-hand side, and it was like that all the time. He would just go round and round the field, and so that's how we did that bit. Now we've got 52,000 litres in there at the moment. That one's cut out dead instantly. Just squeeze in through. There we go. Right. Start this one up. I'm going to go and put this one over next to the small field, and then we can test it running both different levels of ripeness on the crop. We might actually do the follow me in the next field. Oh no, we might be able to do it on here. We should have just enough room, I think. So if I position the follow me just right, we can cut up this side and then cut back down the other side. So let me just position it right here so he's ready to go. Let me go and get the other trailer and I'll get it set up a minute. Now I've positioned it here, and now the follow me doesn't seem to be... How do I... Right, it's not actually showing the details for the... Oh, unless I bring it back a bit. Maybe I've got to do it like this. Ah, there we go. So it's down on the bottom. Behind distance 5. Behind distance 10. I think behind distance 5 is okay, and I've got left offset. It's now on 8. I think that might be a bit too much. We'll try it on 7.5. Left offset 7.5. Behind distance is 5. So I'm following it, even though it's behind me. That's kind of the theory behind this, is how it should work. Let me leap up into here. Now we're going to use the glance mod as well. So that one is left control and then M or L to change the... is it left control? It might be left alt. Left alt. M765. Right. That there, we've got chaff at 66%. I'm hoping that should be enough information that we can then see. So we got the chaff at 66%, and it should... We'll keep going. And where is that Tatra going to run? I'm going to run this one flat out. That's actually fairly good. I don't really want to... I know that it's clipping right through the side of the trailer at the moment, but I don't really want to put it closer than this because I don't want to cause issues with it driving into the header on the forager. So that's at 77%. 9. Well, if we can go... What I'm going to do is I'm going to come out the end of the field here and just turn it off a second and then turn fairly sharp. I've got to be able to do it so that the Tatra doesn't run into anything. I don't want it to drive into any buildings, anything like that. Start it up. Come round there. That's... Oops. See, this is the issue now, is he's come in a bit too tight. So I'm... Oh, no, we've done it. Hopefully he can self-correct. Excellent. And it is chopping both of them. It's chopping both lots of chaff. I'll do this again with the next trailer. We'll see if we can go around this field a couple more times, just to see if it will actually work all the way through. And I apologise for it's magically teleporting through the side of the trailer there, but I think really we can live with that because of the overall result that we're trying to get. 97, 98. Right, let's go. We'll move over to this side and do one more bit. If I lift that, there we go. Come up here, turn in and start slicing. There we go. And that is going to be, go on, 99%. There, 100%. Right. So I'll stop. Turn that one off. And leave him. Now, hopefully, the that bleeping that it's doing, it does actually do that. The Class Jaguars, I know that when I worked for contract for a while, and that was one of the things that they do. They do actually bleat at you like that. This beeping that goes when he's stopping is something that I remember happening quite frequently. They've also got a little metal detector thing. And I know that most foragers have got this, but as I've only ever worked with a Class Jaguar, it's sort of reminding me now of the time that I did work with them. They got this little metal detector thing, and we worked on a farm. We did silage on one farm that they grow a lot of tomatoes, and the huge greenhouses full of tomatoes. So there's a lot of compost that comes from the tomatoes. All the waste from it is all composted, and then it's spread back onto the fields, and then it gets drawn up into the silage and so on. Now, part of with doing the tomatoes is they use little wires to train the plants when they need to, and these wires aren't always pulled out. So what you end up getting is you go round the field, especially on the fields that have had the compost spread on them only the autumn before. It was an absolute nightmare. It was awful. We were forever stopping. You'd go along and you get maybe 50 meters down the field and the magnet sensor would go off. So it would detect that there was a bit of metal about to go in, and it instantly cuts off the knives and everything, the feed going into the knife. So the knife, the rotating knives themselves, they don't stop. They're on a huge flywheel, and there's a lot of weight on them, so you wouldn't want those to stop. It would just break something. So what happens is that the grass feeding into the machine, that stops, and that stops pretty dead instantly. So then you got to stop your machine, you back up a bit, you have a look through the pile of, you got to pull the grass out the front of the machine, where you can actually reverse it. You've got a button that like reverse feeds it and spits it all out onto the ground. You then have a quick look through to see if you can see any metal, and if you can't see any metal, none at all, we would try again. Try to just run it through there one more time. If that didn't work, usually it didn't, you then gather up the bundle of grass that you spit out, you run over to the edge of the field, and you throw it into the hedge on the field, which is great and all, but you did sometimes have quite a distance to go to carry it over the hedge. And we were all day doing this, and because of the amount of compost that was put on, I think that the longest run that we did in that field was about 100 meters before stopping, and sometimes you'd only get like 5 or 6 meters, it would stop again. Really, really frustrating, really slow going. It was the longest time it took to silage a field that I've ever done. It was 30 acres, and we spent the entire day working on that one 30-acre field. Not something I'd like to repeat, I gotta be honest. Fortunately, the other fields that we did on that farm didn't have all of this old compost on them, so it wasn't an issue on any of the other fields. It was just that one field, and oh my goodness, what a job that was. I've never really known anything like that. That was really genuinely frustrating. Right, now, has it remembered our settings? So I go Control F. Yes, it has. Perfect. Where are you going? Oh, I know what it's doing. Let's... You know what, I'm gonna hop out and I'm gonna let that one carry on. Because what he's picked up the breadcrumb trail. Basically, the machines, they leave kind of a trail behind. And what we've done is we've picked up this trail here instead of the trail for the actual forager now. So the Tatra is going all the way around the field to go back to... it'll end up coming back over here to where we stopped last time. But yeah, it's got that really threw me for a minute. Whatever it was doing. That's brilliant. That is really good. I like that. I've just been thinking, I've done 2 loads so far on this episode, and we are nearly out of time. We'll have time to do this one more load, and then that'll be it. I was going to do some compaction of the silage in our next episode. So what I might do is we'll finish this field that we're on, and then we'll go and get the necessary weights and everything. We'll do some compaction work up on the clamp. And then I'll ask you at the end of the next episode if you'd like me to continue doing silage next week. Because obviously, due to the way that my work pattern is, I'm not able to see your comments about this episode until after I've recorded the whole week's episodes. There's not a lot that I can do about it. And yeah, it's just kind of the way it is. So what I'll do is I'm going to do a little bit more variation for it tomorrow, so we'll do the rolling of the clamp and everything like I said, and then you guys can let me know if you want me to just finish all of the silage before next week, or if you'd like me to do some more silage next week, and at the same time we'll also start doing some planting again. Now I was so pleased with the way that the oilseed radishes worked on my time-lapse episodes that I'd like to use oilseed radishes again, and I'm going to use them on here. Our attempt at using oilseed radishes on here wasn't quite so successful because I didn't pay attention, and I ended up I ended up fertilising them all in, didn't I? And so because I fertilised them in, we completely lost the benefit of doing the oilseed radishes. We got no money from them at all. So what we'll do is, now that we've got a bit of land, is next week, even if we don't do the rest of the silage next week, even if I do it before next week, we will get the oilseed radishes being planted on here. We've got the Amazon condor to do that planting, which is a fantastic drill that is going to throw them out in no time at all. I was also talking about planting the poplars up on field 1. I'm still considering that, so head into the comment section and tell me, 1, if you'd like me to continue doing silage next week, and 2, if you want me to start planting up the poplars up in field 1, because we're going to be doing a harvest for those at some point reasonably soon. We've got all this silage to sell. We'll be doing the forestry, so we'll be getting some more money from that. We're going to have a few wood chips to sell, because I'm going to be using the chainsaw mod. There's sawdust mod that basically you get wood chips wherever you're working, which I think is a really nice little touch. It means that we've sort of got a little bit of extra realism. We've got more stuff that we've got to deal with while we're doing it. So we've got money coming in from that. We've got money coming in from the silage, which means that we'll be able to afford to buy the New Holland forager that we need to be able to harvest the poplars as and when we plant them. So if we start planting them next week as well as doing all the other stuff, before we start doing the actual forestry, we get those planted, and then they'll be ready to harvest after we finish doing our forestry and we've harvested this crop here. Whatever crops we decide to plant in these 3 fields back here. One other thing is, I'm not 100% certain on what was I going to say? I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. There was something I needed to say, and now I can't remember what it was. Doing the poplars, that was it. If we plant the poplars, I'm not certain what the growth rate is on those poplar trees before they're ready to actually harvest. I've genuinely got no clue on that one. So, is it like a regular crop? Do you have to wait twice as long? I don't think it wouldn't be as long as the fir trees we plant. Those you've got to wait for a really long time. I don't think it would be that long, but it would be, I'm sure, longer than waiting for a regular crop. So that'll be something else interesting that we'll have to wait and sort of find out. The one other thing that I'd like you to head into the comment section and let me know about is, when we come to plant poplars, I know it's slow going. I'm planning on leasing 2 tree planters to try and do it. Hopefully that will speed it up a little bit. The trailer's not close enough, and I'm going to end up losing some chaff there if I'm not careful. There we go. yeah, so it does take a very, very long time to do it. And that is 100%. There we go. Right, so let me stop that one. Turn that one off. There we go. When I come to do it, do you want me to just stick... Oh, no, hang on. I've got to take this off Follow Me, haven't I? There we go. That will work. Do you want me to do it realistically, and that's go and buy the pallets from the shop, take them up to field 1, load them onto the tree planter, and just keep doing it like that? Or are you happy for me to... just for that, we'll buy a couple of pallets to start with and load one onto each of the tree planters so that we can see it being done and it's all done properly and as it should be. But then change the settings so that the hired help buys their seed as they go. And if we do it that way, we're not going to have to keep stopping to reload the tree planters. So I'd like to hear your opinions on that one. I know that I try to do things realistically, but I feel that sometimes it's acceptable to cut corners so that we can keep things moving along. So yeah, there's a lot for you to talk about in the comment section today. Give me your views on any one of those subjects or all of them if you wish. I really don't mind. I'd love to hear all your views on all of it. My question for this week is I'm going to be using 2 auto-load trailers when we come to start doing the forestry soon. I'm not quite sure when. Do you want me to load them manually, or are you happy for me to use the actual auto-load script that is on those trailers and designed especially for logging? Would you like to see the auto-load script for the logs in action as we load up a few logs and take a road train of logs up to the sawmill? I don't know how many we'll be doing, because obviously we're going to be processing a whole load of logs into our placeable that we have back down at the other end. So it's your vote, it's your game. Head in the comment section down below, let us know which one you want, and of course don't forget to actually cast your vote in the top right hand corner by mousing over the little circle that's up there. For a little bit more. Tomorrow I will do a little bit more silage, and we are going to go and get, with the Valtra, a blade and a couple of some weights and stuff, and use the tractor for spreading out all of the chaff in the clamp and starting to roll it all down. Whoa! I was watching the back. I was watching the trailer to see where it was going, and so nearly drove into the lamppost. That's probably not the best way to do things, really, is it? If you really think about it, it's probably not the best approach. Okay, so yeah, if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like, and if you really enjoyed it, please tell your friends all about me. Get them to co-watch as well. Get them to co-watch as well? Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.